Video game currencies make no goddamn sense. You could probably place them into categories and organize them based on what they do in their respective games, or you could make fun of them, because they're kind of stupid. But first, a definition. What is a currency? This? No, this is not a currency. There must be a transactional aspect, be it through a vendor or in-game systems. You give something, you get something. Or rather, you get something, you get different something. Here, we'll do the first one together. Sonic collects rings, you get something. Rings. Sonic doesn't die. You get different something. Although, I guess in this case, you're actually not getting something. It makes sense. In Animal Crossing, the currency bells literally grows on trees. Not that it matters, because you owe the IRS 2.5 million of them. The Legend of Zelda has rupees, which when I was younger I thought were the same as Indian rupees. I just imagined people walking around a bazaar with one of these pouches full of them. They're just kinda everywhere. You find them in chests, bushes, pots. Pots, oh my god, pots. This series single-handedly made me destroy interactables in every other game I've played since, just because maybe, occasionally, there was 1 rupee in it. There's nothing in most of them anymore, but I still destroy them for fear of missing something. I've played Destiny for almost 9 years, and the only thing I could tell you about Glimmer is this little tooltip you get when you hover over it in-game. Everyone uses it for trading and buying, but for some reason, the only thing we program the programmable matter into is small blue cubes. Pokemon battles start out as fun little bouts that you can have with friends. But then some people start taking it a little too seriously and pay out Pokédollars to the winner. That's an animal fighting ring. Except most of the people involved are children, which is just a lot of crimes in one. In Call of Duty Zombies, the zombies give you points, and those points are spent knocking back a couple cold ones. Donkey Kong collects bananas despite primates not even eating them in the wild. The Knight uses dead bug shells to buy maps and shiny pins for the maps. Good luck killing God with those. Someone that worked on Kingdom Hearts forgot they had to create a currency and just came up with money last minute. Could have just been gold. Actually, no. Don't make it gold, because most games use gold, and that's boring. World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Fable, Divinity Original Sin 2, Spelunky, Undertale, Sekiro, Chrono Trigger, all of the Diablo games. These currencies kinda suck. They aren't easily identifiable. You look at these and you don't know what game they're from, and not just because they're 3 pixels wide. But a currency doesn't have to be bad just because it's gold. This is a good currency. We've been obsessing over these small gold Mario coins for 40 years. They can give you extra lives, but most of the time the reason to collect them is just to see big number get bigger. In Odyssey, you can at least spend them, but this just feels like Mario's about to get cancelled. Then you have a game like The Witcher, which should have just used gold, but wanted to say, I'm not like other games, so I'll just smash this button here until I get something that I like. Dishonored and Dishonored 2 both use coin, which are just gold, except the value of gold fell from 10 to 5 between games, which is pretty damn high inflation. In Monster Hunter, you think you have a lot of zenny, and then you realize that this hat costs 30k, and upgrading it costs even more, but then you figure out this egg you have in your inventory sells for 20k, and you have almost 2,000. Zenny is actually used in both Capcom's Monster Hunter and Street Fighter 6, meaning that in this universe, there's a chance that Ryu can fight a giant monster. Oh, they're already doing that? Is that Guile? Post-apocalyptic games usually use some form of metal or garbage as their currency. Horizon uses metal shards. That's it. In Metro, pristine military-grade ammunition, which is extremely scarce, is used as a bartering tool. So scarce to the point that I should punt this kid for even asking for 1 bullet. Death Stranding tries to imitate modern-day internet by determining your value based on likes. In Wasteland 3, you actually get rid of your junk for money, which is probably less useful in a not-so-thriving economy. Fallout sets itself apart from the rest of the post-apocalyptic genre by making its currency the completely worthless bottle cap. I know there's reasons for it, although the reasoning is inconsistent. It just seems weird for a game set in a wasteland to use a fiat currency, at least most of the time. Every single game that includes space travel or is set sometime in the future or a combination of the two calls their currency either units or credits. Deus Ex, Warframe, Mass Effect, No Man's Sky, Deep Rock Galactic, which you think should belong back in the gold category, actually goes here because the gold you mine gets turned into credits. Dead Space, StarCraft 2, Elite Dangerous, Stellaris, EVE Online, which actually has a thriving economy at 7.4 million GDP. Starfield, which hasn't even come out yet. Come on, Todd, you can change it. Be different. Call them Todd dollars or something. Even a throwaway line at the end of Subnautica calls them credits despite not using them in the game.
Your outstanding balance of 1 trillion credits.
Now how about the stuff that makes you big and strong? No, not that. These. Devil May Cry's red orbs are crystallized demon blood. Get real, that's just demon souls. Not to be confused with this demon souls, that's just regular souls actually. And then you got souls, blood echoes, souls again, and then runes. I'm gonna just call them all souls. Alright, we've arrived. These are the real meat and potatoes of video game currencies. You look at these and you think, what the hell is going on? Meet your maker. You got red, blue, and orange? There's no reason for there to be 3 of these, and I didn't even know their names for the first 10 hours. In early Resident Evil games, how many saves you get on a playthrough is tied directly to how many ink ribbons you find. This one's actually kind of cool. Path of Exile. This game is the main reason I wanted to make this video. I really got into this game last season, and it might be the least noob-friendly game I've ever played. It's ridiculous how much this game throws at you, and that's partially due to the fact that the game came out in 2013 and has been receiving regular updates ever since, with many of the updates going into the core gameplay loop. This has resulted in somewhat of a bloating of currencies, but the thing about this game is that everything is currency. The crown jewel of which is the divine orb. I mean, it's actually this dumb mirror, but I'll never see one of those in my lifetime, so it might as well just be the divine orb. Now, what makes this little golden face so special? It does this. That's it. It's important though, I swear. But that's not the only currency. As I mentioned, there's way too many. So, how do we store all these in our stash? You only get 4 12x12 tabs, and some items take up more than 1 square. Money. At a certain point, you're basically forced to buy more and better stash tabs to organize your haul and support the Kiwis at GGG. This is what the currency tab looks like, all nice and organized, and this may seem pretty good if you suck. You see, this whole game is about currency. If you ain't ballin', you're ballin'. It's the only game I've ever played where how well you're doing isn't measured by how good your build is or how fast you can kill a boss, but by how big your portfolio is. Specifically measured in divines per hour. Getting less than 7 divines per hour? You're terrible, you're dog shit, you're the worst player to ever play the game. Come on, just sell more Whispering Essence. Genshin Impact is another game that I think specifically made it confusing just so you don't understand how much money you're actually spending. There are quaint and intertwined fates, which can be redeemed for wishes, which is just a slot machine. There's primo gems. They're the lifeblood of the game, which can be used to buy all manner of things, fates included, but you can't buy primo gems outright with real money. To do that, you first have to buy Genesis crystals. You got Moro, which is just gold, sigils, which can be turned into gold, Stardust and Star Glitter, which come from wishes, but you can only get a certain amount per month, Stella Fortunas, which also come from wishes. Not to mention, to even get any of this stuff, you need resin, which regenerates slowly based on real lifetime, or you can of course use primo gems to speed it up like a goddamn mobile game. Oh. Well, that makes sense. Almost every game has microtransactions now, and while I'm not really against the microtransaction model as it allows for a lot of cool things in the gaming space, I just find it funny that you can be a whale for any game now, no matter how good or bad it is. Fortnite, Destiny 2, Roblox, Rocket League, League of Legends, Smite, Valorant. The microtransactions are a bit predatory or ridiculously priced, but at least you get some cool skins if you pay for them. On the contrary, in games like FIFA, NBA, or Madden, you toss money at the screen and the only thing you get is bent over. Now, the most valuable currency that every game demands of you, your time. So many games come out nowadays that for the majority of people just aren't worth playing. Something like Persona 5 Royal, which is great, takes an average of 100 hours to beat, and games are getting even longer with more and more cutscenes. Death Stranding cutscenes take 7 hours, Final Fantasy 16 has 11 hours of them. Unless a game is an 8, 9, or 10, which for IGN is actually most games, it's not worth it. There are games like Naraka Blade Point, which you can sink an infinite amount of time into, and it's just terrible. But then you have a game like Journey, which you can beat in 2 hours and you get more out of it than you ever will out of most games. Duration and price no longer correlate to value in this industry, which is kinda sad. What was this video about again? Oh. Whatever. You get the idea.